Good evening, Africa. Good evening, African Confessions. I am back with another episode. There is a message that I want to share with you guys. The message reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi. Please hide me and post. My story goes like this. My father had 7 brothers and 2 sisters. All my uncles and auntie had come to look for jobs in the capital city. So we ended up living in the city and we just went to the villages here and there during the school holidays. So when I was in grade 6, I think grade 7, my father started arguing with some of his older brothers. That is when my father and we went to a bush where rituals would take place. There were people who were staying in that bush. The bush was well known for evil rituals. I don't know what they do there, but he took me there and he left me on the side of the road. And we went into that bushy area. Then my father came back to me and he gave me money and he said to me, my son, go and buy chicken and come back with the chicken here. I did so. I went to this other place where they were keeping chickens. So I bought a chicken. It was a white broiler. So my father had given me the instruction. He had said to me, you should only buy a crippled chicken only. So the person who was selling those chickens was surprised that I chose a chicken that was not well. It was a crippled chicken. I went back to the bush where my father was. Then I gave him the chicken and he went back into that bush where they were doing those evil rituals. When my father went back into that bushy area, I wondered what they were doing in there, but I knew that they were doing something that was sinister against my father's elder brother, because this ritual was performed soon after my father had an argument with one of his elder brother. So my father came back to where I was, but the sun was already setting. My father was no longer wearing shoes. He was now wearing his clothes inside out. When he reached the place where I was standing, he took a stick. Then he started to write down some stuff on the ground. And the things that he was writing down on the ground were things like, I shouldn't talk to him until he talks to me, because that was part of the ritual that he was performing. We started walking. Then my father gave me a sign to sit down, because in front of us suddenly there were other women who were coming to look for firewood. So we stayed in the bush hiding until it was dark enough. Then we started walking again. From there, Brother Nashi, where we were to go to the location where my father's brother lived, it was about 4 hours. We walked until we reached the location where my father's brother lived, and we got there around 11 p.m. When we got there, my father gave me a 5-cent coin and then he went into the yard. He took a shovel and started digging a hole in front of my uncle's gate. He dug the hole and he took out the chicken feathers, but there were a few, and he threw those chicken feathers into the hole. After that, he threw a 5-cent coin, an egg into the hole. Then he closed that hole. We walked back home. We arrived at home somewhere around 3:30 in the morning. My father then told me not to tell anyone about what we had done. My uncle then had a stroke and he died. Brother Nashi, as we are speaking right now, my late uncle's child has a stroke. The problem is that these strokes are happening to all of my uncle's children. Like my uncle's daughter, she says that sometimes she loses sensation in her left hand, not knowing if she is about to have a stroke or not. My father then said to me, if you are ever going to visit your uncle's house, the same uncle that me and my father went into that bushy area to do a ritual against him, he said, whenever I go to his house, I have to buy coarse salt and I have to put that coarse salt either in my pocket or in my shoes. I have to do this whenever I visit my uncle's house. The reason why I have to do it, I don't know. To this day, this is all that I do. That is my story that my father left behind for me. And I am afraid that if I reveal this secret that my father did, maybe everyone will think that it was me who did this ritual. Since my father has since passed away, there is no one who can witness this story for me. My brother, if you post for me, please tell me so that I can follow up in the comment section. Dear listeners, right there was a message that I received from Anonymous, and I had to ask one of our admins to give us a translation.